film school has it all backwards. I've never been to film school, but I know they straight up don't get movies. Wanna know why? Because film academia is surprisingly silent when it comes to the best movie genre of all times. Family-friendly girl time fun. No, I don't just mean a chick flick. That category is way too vague. Chick flick is what people call any movie that isn't specifically made to appeal to men, and since people view masculinity as neutral, chick flick just becomes a list of movies that have female protagonists.
Favorite chick flick?
Why is Chicken Run? Is there anything coming to my head?
Not that there's anything wrong with chick flicks, by the way. I'll defend them until the end of time. But I want to focus on a more specific type of movie. One with a formula so glorious it is destined for success. You take whatever current celebrity is trending, bonus point if they have a musical career and or have been a child star, throw in a dash of drama, a hint of romance, and give it a killer soundtrack. Bam! Family-friendly girl time fun. The best example of this movie genre, which is also a serious contender for best movie of all time, is Hilary Duff's A Cinderella Story. But I'm actually here to talk about another masterpiece that was just as influential when I was growing up. One that managed to offer a take on romance that I have yet to see another movie successfully surpass. A take that, years later, hits me as a little more colorful than originally intended. And listen, I might be going a little overboard, but I don't care. It's summer and I want to have a good time. It's not actually summer where I live, but YouTube sure is acting like it is, and I gotta respect the internet calendar. Besides, summertime is more of a feeling anyway, and I feel like talking about a sunny mermaid masterpiece. So move those sparkly tails and follow me to the shiny coast of Florida because I want to talk about Aquamarine. Aquamarine was released in 2006 and the mere concept of it is automatically iconic. A summer romance movie involving two best friends and a mermaid? Sold! The cast was also something straight out of a teen magazine from the olden days, including Emma Roberts from the Nickelodeon series Unfabulous, and JoJo, who used to sing this one banger about how it's too little too late. In the movie, they play Claire and Haley, two BFFs who have spent the entire season together and are now dreading its end. Not only because of the usual frustrations that come with fall, such as the return to school and the end of their freedom, but also because Haley's moving away to Australia with her mother, and the two girls won't be close anymore. Determined to spend as much time together as possible, the ladies hold a sleepover and do what every girl usually does in that situation. Perform intricate rituals praying for divine entities to work their magic and grant them their deepest wishes. I mean, what else would they be doing? That's when a storm hits the bay, sending a strange guest straight into their pool. Aquamarine is a mermaid who ran from home attempting to get away from an arranged marriage. Apparently, love isn't a thing in the mermaid world, so she wants to prove to her father that love is real in order to gain the right to choose her own fiancé. She has 3 days to do it, and the girls agree to help her, mostly because if you help a mermaid, you get to make a wish, which the girls intend to use to stop their separation. The only problem is that Aqua falls for Raymond, the hottest, most coveted himbo in town. The two girls try their best to make the couple fall in love. They get Aqua and Raymond to hang out, they make sure that their dates run smoothly, they go shopping for the perfect outfit, and overall engage in some great teen movie moments. The story wouldn't be complete without its share of drama though, and in this case, it comes in the form of Cecilia, our local spoiled mean girl who wants to conquer the same guy that Aquamarine has chosen. Despite being a cliché character, I feel like Cecilia manages to stand out among other beauty queen types, thanks to her storyline of trying to reveal Aqua's identity as a mermaid. She keeps oscillating between an attention-seeking popular girl and a conspiracy theorist screaming about sea creatures, and it's great. Despite Cecilia's efforts to get in the way of the new couple, Ray and Aqua seem to be hitting it off. Still, their journey isn't an easy one, since Aqua can't be out after the sun sets, or her legs turn into a tail again. And the sun seems determined to interrupt some of the pair's most romantic moments. Can these two besties successfully play Cupid? Can Aquamarine find proof that romantic love is real? Will Raymond find a woman of his dreams? Well, these answers feel pretty obvious. It's a family-friendly girl time fun movie. You know it's bound to have a happy ending. The problem here is that we're only asking obvious questions. The question we should be asking is this movie gay? And the answer to all of that, surprisingly enough, is yes. Well, kind of. This movie is set out to discuss the nature of love. Proving that love is real is the one thing that can stop Aqua from being forced to marry a stranger, and she knows that love is real because she once saw it in the eyes of a young couple, so now she is determined to find it. The main issue here is that Aqua doesn't really know what love is. She's seen it once, or so she thinks, but she's never really felt it herself. When she runs into the two girls, they become her new guides in exploring this mysterious force, except they don't know a lot about it either. Haley and Claire are fixated on an idea of love that they have gathered from girly magazines, which seem to offer advice that is very conflicting. You should be aloof but determined, available but not too easy. You should say one thing when in reality you mean the other. Aquamarine questions those rules and the girls agree that it doesn't make sense, but that's just the way it is. Aqua tries winning Ray over by replicating those same tricks, and it works, but there's something off about it. When she's supposed to do the fluff and retreat maneuver, for instance, the move indicates that she should compliment Raymond and then walk away, leaving him wanting more. But then Aqua comes up to him like,
"Wow, Raymond, you're good! Bye!"
She followed the instructions, but she was too literal about it. It was too spontaneous, too quick. The other girls reprimand her for it, but it's not like they're doing much better. In an earlier scene, when they're directing Aqua's flirty hair flips, they keep giving her snappy and meaningless instructions that just lead to more wacky behaviors, and they don't know how to do it differently. It's all performative. Their idea of romance isn't sincere. It's based on a predetermined set of instructions that they struggle to follow. It isn't so much about feeling, it's just following a manual. Those magazines that they read sure have a lot to say about how to get a guy to notice you, but they don't seem to have a lot of information on how to hold a conversation with him. Aquamarine's crush on Raymond also doesn't seem to be based on much. She is excited to see him and she likes hanging out with him, but we can't really call it love, since she doesn't know what love is. And if falling for Raymond stood as sufficient evidence of the existence of love, her journey would be over as soon as she declared that she loved him, instead of trying to get him to love her back. Whatever she feels over Raymond isn't enough to prove that love is real. She seems to choose Raymond on a whim. She sees him, she thinks that he's cool, and she wants him to feel the same way about her. Aqua's attitudes towards the idea of love are impulsive and arbitrary. She supposedly falls for the first hot guy she sees, and convinces herself that he is her one and only chance of finding true love. Although her mission on land was to discover the nature of this feeling, she seems more interested in cultivating a fantasy. Claire and Haley are currently going through a similar process. From the very first scene, they had also been established as having a crush on Raymond, but you know it's never going to work out. The girls are starting 8th grade and Raymond is old enough to go to college. The two friends talk about him as if he were a celebrity, memorizing trivia facts about him like his favorite song and food and drink. From the looks of it, Raymond barely knows that the girls exist. They also seem to like Raymond for the same reasons that Aqua does. Basically, he's a cool dude, and now that they have settled on Ray as their arbitrary crush, they no longer have eyes for anybody else. Their idea of love is just entertaining a sort of fiction, the daydream of a romance, one which the two girls know is far from happening, and which Aqua sees as so random that it might as well be real already. None of those crushes are enough to prove that love is real. Raymond himself destroys that idea when Aqua asks him if he loves her, and he says that even though he really likes her, they have only been hanging out for 3 days, and that's too little time for him to know for sure. Raymond's reaction always stood out to me as a kid, mostly because he's so nice about it. He doesn't feel comfortable saying he loves Aquamarine, but he makes sure that she understands she still means a lot to him. His idea of love is something that needs to be built, and even if 3 days is a good start, they have only really begun their journey. But if we're talking about things that impressed me way back when, then we need to talk about the ending. Once Aqua is pushed into the ocean by a jealous Cecilia, her father creates a storm trying to drag her back home, and the girls jump into the water to try to save her. When Aqua asks why they would go through so much trouble for her, Haley and Claire seem almost confused. They had never even dared to question it, it just came as second nature to them. Because they loved Aquamarine. This is the proof that the mermaid needed. As she cries in happiness at that realization, the storm fades away immediately. This changed me as a person. Something not conventionally hetero-romantic as the ultimate manifestation of love. Get out of here, Frozen! Aquamarine did it first and did it better. When I call this movie gay, I meant it more like an umbrella term. A queer marine, if you will. I can see it resonating with a few different experiences. Claire's storyline is the one that feels the most overtly sapphic. She shares the same puppy love crush on Raymond with Haley, but she doesn't seem as interested on it. Haley is always the one lamenting over how they haven't kissed Raymond yet, or how they must dance with him at the summer festival. Claire seems much more concerned with the fact that Haley is moving away, and is desperately trying to keep the two of them together. Claire is characterized as a bit of an outcast with a fear of trying out new things. She doesn't seem to have other close friends aside from Haley, who in turn is the one who convinces Claire to do something different. Claire is afraid of the water because her parents drowned in a boat accident, and although Haley wishes that Claire would overcome that fear, she is always there to support her. Claire's journey is complete once she jumps into the water to save Aquamarine, and when she learns to cope with the fact that Haley and her might be separated. The love she feels for both of those girls is what allows her to overcome those obstacles. Literally speaking, she conquered her greatest fear, but it also means that she has learned to open herself up to new experiences, and that process brings her a sense of calm and freedom. I could easily twist this into an allegory for how her love over her best friend was the key for coming out of the closet, which is exactly what I'm doing. Aquamarine's journey can be seen from a more aromantic perspective. She comes from a land which is theoretically devoid of love, and she takes the name of the feeling to mean romantic love exclusively. Her attempts at flirting are performative and disjointed, and even at the end, I'm not fully convinced that she has actually fallen in love with Raymond, since she can't use her feelings towards him to prove that love is real. Aquamarine completes her journey by learning that there is more than one type of love, and that the feeling itself shouldn't depend on following a rigid set of social expectations. True love comes naturally, and the concept of a loved one goes beyond a single romantic partner. In the end, it was the love that the girls felt for one another that proved that this force of nature was real. The feeling was only allowed to bloom once the girls distanced themselves from a performative guy-centric perspective and became truly immersed in the relationship that the three of them shared. I can't say this is the reading intended by the movie. It's just one of the many ways in which you can interpret this tale. You can see the girls' attempts at flirting as childish and mechanical because they're kids and they're still learning to trust their instincts. And you can see the random nature of their crushes as evidence of their innocence. When I was a kid, I saw those girls as romance experts because I was a literal child. Our readings of media change as we grow, and even if they differ, there's nothing we can do to stop that from happening. Maybe you watched this movie and ended up with a completely different impression, but I'm also not ruling out the possibility that someone out there agrees with my own queer interpretation, or has found the same narrative comforting one way or another. And even if you don't want to get into the merits of individual interpretation, there's plenty of things to love about this movie regardless of which reading you prefer. One of the things that stands out to me is how they cast actual teenagers to play the teen roles. Emma Roberts was 14 at the time and JoJo was 15. They might be a year or so older than your average 8th grader, but they're still allowed to look the part. Their outfits aren't just iconic, they look accurate and age appropriate. It feels like the bare minimum, but the bar has been set so low that this comes out as impressive. The actor who plays Raymond was 19 at the time, and Cecilia was the oldest of the cast at 20, but those characters were meant to be older anyway. Sarah Paxton, who plays Aquamarine, was 17, and it also works out nicely, because you get the feeling that she's supposed to be a little older than the other girls. At least, old enough for her romance with Raymond to be feasible. Paxton mentioned that she became friends with her co-stars, and you can really feel that energy in the movie. So much of the story is focused on the three of them hanging out and helping each other, and their chemistry really works. Even Aqua and Raymond managed to share some really sweet moments together. Speaking of which, man, Raymond is great. He's supposed to be your typical hot guy, and the movie makes that fact incredibly clear. But he's still a nice and supportive friend who wants to make sure that everyone is having a good time. He stands up against Cecilia, he defends Claire, he plays this water balloon game with this random kid? Who is this kid? It doesn't matter, because Raymond really is the kind of guy who would help anybody who needs it. This movie was directed by Elizabeth Allen Rosenbaum, who is also known for a family-friendly girl time fun movie Ramona and Beezus, and a ton of teen dramas. She really seems to be a master of a very specific craft, and I'm all for it. There's other fun details about this movie, like how the story is supposedly set in Florida and Hailey is sad that she has to move to Australia, except the actual shooting of the movie was done in Australia. Or how when Aqua is drowning her sorrows in ice cream, the flavor that she's eating is called fish food. I just love that. Aquamarine is fun. I am filled with summertime vibes every time I watch it. I love this little beach hangout club, I love the festivals, the montages, the characters. It's good vibes and cool times wrapped up in a neat little gift of a story. It's a comfort film for me, as many other similar movies are. What can I say? I was a girly girl and I grew up with girly movies. It's fun to revisit comfort media every now and then, especially to see how our impressions have changed over the years. And as I was in need of a chill time, I treated myself to this mermaid tale. Hey, get it? I'm so sorry. What I didn't expect was to see it through such a new lens and find even more ways of relating to this story. Love can indeed come in many forms, and I'll always have a soft spot for movies that promote unconventional ideas regarding the nature of that feeling. No matter how you choose to interpret this film, there's plenty here to be enjoyed, and I'll always feel at home when diving right back into this universe. Thank you for watching. Well, hello there. It was very nice of you to watch this video. Special thanks to my wonderful Patreons for making videos like these possible. You guys are my besties on land. If you would like to join the gang, click the link in the description. If you have enjoyed the video, you can also help me out by clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell too. You can also follow me on Twitter and share this video with your friends. Feel free to leave a comment down below, especially if it is about how much you love Aquamarine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye! If Aquamarine wasn't meant to be a queer narrative, then why did they play the same song in the credits as the one that the two gal pals sing in the Diamond Castle, Checkmate, atheists.